TikTok.
We are.
Just hit it. Alright, ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV. Welcome back to the first post-match fan show of pre-season. And I'm telling you, it's going to be a special one today. Absolutely. The Spurs fan base are just going in overdrive at the moment with the youngsters, the display that we put on today. I think the lines are very hot, so we better get on with this because...
Who needs trophies when you've got the academy that we have?
Exactly. The Hotspur way is producing people. We're going to get into reacts first, and then we're going to have you on to have your say. We're going to go for about... an hour and 15 minutes. So unfortunately, if you don't have your time to have your say today, hopefully you will get your chance to have your say on Saturday. But the lines are very busy today. But let's get straight into reacts and see how the internet did react to the Spurs game today, starting off with Luke Cam saying Donley, Gray, Spence, Hall, Lancashire, Moore, Bergvall, ball every Thursday night. It's brilliant.
Oh man, puts a tear to my eye as well.
Honestly, man. Next one is from THFC Tyree saying goal and assist. This Jed Spence redemption arc is going to be crazy.
Legendary. Look, if today is anything to go by, maybe he's got a future at this football club. Really, really exciting potentially because he was absolutely brilliant.
You could see he really wanted it today, and he produced on that football pitch, which was the main thing. Kulisevsky School says, can we give Leeds more money for Archie Gray? Take more, take more. He deserves it.
We underpaid, I think. Unbelievable from him today. Playing our position, so composed. You wouldn't know it, would you, the way he played. It was absolutely phenomenal.
Centre-back of all places as well. Archie Gray's first half versus Hearts by numbers. 52 out of his 52 passes were completed. 5 passes into the final third. 2 out of 2 accurate long balls. 1 clearance, 1 headed clearance. 3 interceptions. 3 ball recoveries. 1 out of 1 ground duels won. 3 out of 3 aerial duels won. 0 fouls committed. A class start to life in Lily White. Even playing out of position. Unbelievable numbers.
Yeah, phenomenal. And he had a brilliant first half. He looked so assured. He looked so accomplished. And as I said, like, you wouldn't know he wasn't playing in his right position, the way he played. The way he just, every time he slid in for a challenge, so perfectly timed every 90% of the time anyway. You wouldn't know he was 18 as well, the way he played. It was absolutely phenomenal.
BLTHFC says, someone disconnect the internet in Milan. We cannot let them see that.
So cut it off. Leaving, sure. That's why the stream kept cutting out in Spurs play. They can't let Milan see what Emerson's doing. That disaster.
Oh, maybe we should accept that first bit, honestly. Lee McQueen says, remember the name, Mikey Moore. And everyone's been talking about Mikey Moore. I've been waxing lyrical about Mikey Moore. And he showed today everyone why.
Yeah, I remember we had that comment saying, why is Ben so obsessed with Mikey Moore?
Now you know.
Now you're seeing it. This guy is special. He is special. Only 16. Hearts couldn't deal with him. Brilliant goal that he scored as well. And this guy, look, I'm really excited to see what he's got in store for us this season.
Yeah. Attack the Space just says the number 6.
And just another perfectly timed tackle from Archie Gray. One of many in this game. It was phenomenal performance from him, and he's so graceful when he slides in as well like that, and you just know whenever he slides in he's getting that ball. It's brilliant.
Yeah. Spurs Express says that no player completed more dribbles in tonight's game than 16-year-old Mikey Moore, which was 2. Moore also had a goal and a chance created. A thoroughly impressive showing from the Spurs starlet.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, at 16 as well, so encouraging.
Ange Postecoglou and Will Lancashire, he says, Will was good. We kind of brought him in this last week. He's looked bright in training. He's worked hard. He had a very good year last year, and it's about rewarding him for that. It's about coming in and making an impact. He did well, and he took his goal well.
Yeah, and he did, and he looked a real handful, didn't he? He didn't look like, in terms of physically, out of place at all. He was completely competing with the Hearts centre-backs, backing into them, giving them trouble, and the way he got away from his man for the goal and the way he took it was really impressive. So I wonder if they'll take a closer look at him in terms of keeping him around or not.
Rising Ballers, they've actually been waxing lyrical about Mikey Moore for a while now, so this is probably a bit of vindication for their tweets over the past 6 months or so. And they've said 16-year-old Mikey Moore bagged his first goal for Tottenham's senior team today in a pre-season friendly versus Hearts. Lucas Bergvall provided the assist for it too. I can't lie, Tottenham's future is looking very bright. You love to see it. You definitely love to see it.
Definitely love to see it. And I'm sure Rising Ballers is keeping tabs on a lot of our players right now because we are chock-a-block full of talent.
Zara tweets out saying, our social butterfly, and this is Sonny and Archie Gray walking into. Is this a new bromance forming now?
Of course, Gray and Son are best friends. Come on, of course.
And this is in Korean, and it says, Captain's commute is back.
The captain's commute, the captain's journey to the game. Come on, big up, Sonny. It wasn't his best game, but he still had his moments.
Yeah.
In this game, he could have had an assist with a really good flick to Porro. Should have probably had a goal with a really good run, which he should have put past Gordon. But wasn't his best game, but still some encouraging moments from our captain.
Attack the Space says 16-year-old, you know.
Yeah, look how he just strides past these players. Past one, past two. They can't get near him. They had to bring him down. It was the only way they could stop him. Incredible.
Becky Day says, nice one, Sonny. This is Sonny going to applaud the away end as he always does at the end of the game. Always there for the fans, our Sonny.
Yeah, come on. Love that. Even in a friendly game, doesn't mean much, but Son always appreciating the fans, of course.
Ayudi says, poor touch, and then he acted like this. How could I be angry?
Come on. Once I see that smile, always forgiven.
This next one is from Liam, says, cooking. Seeing Archie Gray, seeing Bergvall and Gray, seeing Bergvall, Gray, Hall, Moore, Donnelly, Lancashire, Divine. That was literally what the watch along was like today.
It was all too much in the end. Unbelievable from Liam.
Sweden Spurs saying Lucas Bergvall is a baller. I mean, he took a little bit of time to get to grips with the games today, but once he did, I thought he was outstanding.
Yeah, you can see from this clips like the composure, doing the right things as well. He did end up getting an assist and a brilliant cross for Scarlett's chance as well. So I think once he grew into the game, once he got a foothold in it, he was actually really, really good. Bergvall.
Spurs Connect saying Hearts vs Tottenham highlights today. We eating good tonight, people.
Everyone having a piece. Come on, everyone get involved.
Brian Daigle, Mikey Moore is a 24-carat diamond. He's one of our own. Owen, he says, but Owen, he's our Owen, he's our Fowler, he is our Rooney. The Premier League are going to realise very soon that Spurs have the next generational talent in England. Tomo says,
look at Kane.
He left out. Tomo says, Spurs fans, after seeing Archie Gray play one of the half of football tonight.
Yeah, look at that. He's a Leeds fan, is he?
Spurs Twitter was just going nuts. Yeah, he's a Leeds fan.
That's brilliant. He's watching like, oh God, they're starting to...
We did have one Leeds fan come in the chat today, and he weren't very happy.
It's never ending, these comments for Archie Gray. Absolutely brilliant.
And this last one is from Tottenham Tears, just showing Brennan Johnson's goal. Lovely from Maddison to get him behind, and Brennan Johnson there and does what Brennan Johnson does, sneak in behind and bang it in the back of the net.
And let's hope he can really start scoring some more goals next season, because he got 10 assists. Look, he got 5 goals, which was respectable, but he got 11 goals for Forest the previous season. We know he can score goals, so it'll be really interesting to see if we can really up that goal output for next season. And it's a really good start to pre-season for him, and he's looking confident in that first half as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But now it is your time to have...
Just quickly, he's been talking about Jed Spence.
What's he said?
Jed did well. He had a tough couple of years. He is training with us, and I think with all the players, when they are here with us, I treat them as a Tottenham player unless something suddenly changes. Well,
okay.
Is there a comeback to Spence?
Redemption arc is going to be crazy, and the one person I want to talk to about Jed Spence's redemption arc is Ariane. Let's get him on today. We haven't spoken to Ariane in a while. Ariane, talk to me. I can't hear you.
Is it? I can hear him now.
Okay, all good?
Yeah. Yes, Ariane. How are you, my friend?
Great. Now I see why there's been no transfer business. Daniel Levy's too busy making content.
Apparently, I read a comment today saying the biggest winner of today was Levy's bank account.
Oh, no, seriously. Seriously. After that Jed Spence performance, honestly, I think just go get that little low ball offer from Milan because we don't even need another right back. Just keep it simple. Look, today I think the thing with Spence that always kind of bothered me under Ange is because when we got him, I kind of looked at him as like this almost. I remember when we got him, I kind of compared his archetype, not his level, his kind of archetype to like Hakimi, where all he does is he's like a power forward on that right side, kind of just goes down, not necessarily very technical, very physical player. If has the pace, has the strength, is going to go down that right side and cut it back. That's kind of what I thought his game was. But today he showed that is not always capable of. And yeah, of course it's Hearts. It's like the third best team in Scotland, which is just not incredible. But today he showed a lot. I was surprised to see that. I think the big thing is that I think he played the inverted wing like right back better than Porro did in that first half.
Yeah, he did.
And that could partially be because I think Hearts also made a significant amount of subs, but you can't take anything away from Spence. He was wonderful. Probably the best player, or no, top two, top three at worst. He was great today. Got the goal, got the assist, made so many chances. Just I've never seen him like play an incisive pass like that. So maybe having his loan called back for his attitude problems, maybe stuff like that is a wake up call. We never know. He's a young kid. He's very impressionable. Something might happen, and suddenly he's like, you know what, I got to put it together. And if this game was anything to go by, and to be fair, his other loan spell, I think he is getting it together. So
Yeah.
I'm glad to see it, and I hope it continues because, I welcome those performances. It was wonderful today.
Yeah, it really was. A performance that I want to talk to you about in the first half, Archie Gray. A lot of fans waxing lyrical about his performance today, not only because of the touch that he showed, but completely playing out of position at centre-back. Yeah. I mean,
I think
just
everybody
talk to me about his performance today.
I think everybody seeing that lineup was kind of just like, wait, what? Like, we had no center backs. It looked like something you play on FIFA. You're like, I need more pace on that back line. But he gets there. Like you said, every single time this guy goes in for a ball, zero doubt, zero. I'm not thinking there's a chance that it's not going through. Like, I knew that was his ball. I didn't think for a moment he wasn't going to get to it. The composure, the technical ability, under pressure, 2-3 players, doesn't matter. He will find a way to turn into space. It doesn't matter if that space is behind him or in front of him or to the side. It doesn't matter. He's going to find a way to see it, and he's going to get that pass off. The only time that it ended up being anything not good was when Austin kicked it out for a corner in the first half, and that wasn't his fault at all. He was under pressure from three guys, and Austin panicked. And again, obviously, it didn't end up being a big deal, but like the amount of composure he has at 18 years old was phenomenal, and it just makes me think and you saw Basuma. I think he kind of had an on and off game when the position that Gray would be playing. There was one instance where he got just muscled off the ball, and the Hearts went on an attack, and I was just thinking, dude, Gray. Imagine you have Romero and Van de Ven, whatever behind him. Dude, the way Gray can turn with that ball, that first touch, what he does is he kind of when Kulusevski first came to Spurs, what I think he was really phenomenal at was he was able to change the direction of his body so well with that first touch because he's slow, so he needs to have that ability. Ball comes in, he little drop of the shoulder here, turns, goes away, defender's gone. And that was what Gray was so good at doing on multiple occasions at center back, and in that midfield pivot that he's going to be playing, that is going to be absolutely priceless because he's going to be able to speed up our transition so much, and I cannot wait to see him do that.
Yeah, another player we got a first look at today was Lucas Bergvall that second half. Did end up grabbing himself an assist for Mikey Moore's goal and a peach of a cross for that for the last goal as well. What did you make out of what you saw from him?
I think that he was my favorite player to watch in that second. I'm maybe not necessarily the best, but I think every time the ball got to him, I was like, something's about to happen. Something's gonna happen because he was taking it to basically, and he didn't really care where he was going with that ball, whether it was to the right, to the left, to the middle, whatever it was. He would just find some sort of space and get that ball progressing, and it was awesome because every time, it doesn't. First assist, second assist, just creating some sort of chance, making something happen was what he was so good at. And I was watching with my dad. He's like, this kid with the golden hair. He's something. And I was like, yeah, we just got him. He's incredible. And he was in that first half, I think maybe it's the first half of the first half, Kulusevski was kind of disappointing with kind of what he was doing because he was supposed to be what Bergvall was, where every time he gets to the ball, he kind of creates this little vortex around them where you'd never know what's going to happen. And every time Bergvall got the ball, it didn't matter what direction he just came from, he was just going to go in a different direction and make it happen anyway. And I loved seeing it because something just kept happening with him. That's why I feel like it was just constant wave after wave after because it was Bergvall. Because we have obviously these wonderful academy forwards, but they were constantly being serviced to because Bergvall would find a way to get the ball in the final third. It was wonderful.
Yeah, and we got to talk about the special Mikey Moore out on that right-hand side today, man. I mean, I thought he was going to make an impact today, but I didn't think he would make this much of an impact. I mean, the way he took his goal, beating a few players in the box, shifting right, shifting left, banging it into the far corner. I mean, this guy is special. How much of an impact do you think he can have in this coming season?
Look, they say football goes in cycles, right? And I think we've gone through a cycle where right now we have a lot of wingers in this game that are robotic. They're not exciting. They're not individualistic. They don't really drop their shoulders. They're kind of these athletes.
You're starting to
that
sound like
happen to be,
Bielsa.
right? I guess, but like I think there's merit to it, and there's a lot of athletes that they're just athletes. They're not very much footballers, and I think we're kind of seeing the emergence of a newer generation in every position. Like I said, you see Archie Gray and his ability to drop his shoulder. You see Bergvall and his ability, his lower center of gravity, and you see players like Lamine Yamal, who's incredible at 16 years old. The technical ability he has is better than most people in their 20s right now because of the way football was coached just a decade ago. And I think Mikey Moore is a product of the same thing. These football goes in these cycles of being very negative and very exciting. I think right now we're in the emergence of an exciting generation. I think Mikey Moore is at the pinnacle of players who are able to play this way because what he has in terms of ability is something I have not really seen in someone that age, like besides Lamine Yamal. The way the ball is glued to his feet, right? It doesn't matter. His hips and his shoulders tell you a different story, and that's the thing, right? It's incredible. I'm watching it. I don't know what's going to happen. I can only pray for those Hearts defenders. It's wonderful to watch, and he made an incredible impact today. I cannot wait to see. I see why they're all so calm about his development because we're all panicking. Send him on loan. Do this. To that. No, he doesn't need anything. He is good the way he is, and he's going to only get better. He's wonderful.
So, Arian, there's a fine balance, I guess, in terms of what we do, in the upcoming weeks in the transfer window, and looking at these youngsters. Everyone's been waxing lyrical about leading up to today and seeing how they perform today. So how do we strike that balance between buying players who are ready for the first team now and giving these youngsters a pathway to really show what they're capable of?
Look, I think we're about to have double the games this season if everything goes right, and it should. Like we're supposed to be having nearly double the games. We're in a European competition. We're not going to hopefully be getting eliminated so early in the cups, and just by virtue of that, we should be getting in a few more new faces. Like even in the Europa League, I'm sure Romero can't even play for 2 of those games, so you're going to see like Radu Dragusin come in. Hopefully, you see Phillips come in for a couple of games. Hopefully, you see maybe Spence get a couple of games. Maybe if we're leading against some of the better teams, you're going to see more. You're going to see Lancashire, all these. So there's always going to be opportunity for them. And also at the end of the day, like they have time ahead of them. I don't think we need to worry about the game time. We're getting them so much. It just needs to be enough. And also there's loan spells. There's a million ways we can worry about them. We need to worry about raising the floor of the performances of this team. I think I don't necessarily worry about ceiling because I think we've seen the ceiling of Spurs. We saw it in the first 10 games last season. We have a very high ceiling. My concern is the floor because when we play bad, we play horribly bad. And I think really in the first 20 minutes today, not to be negative, but I think in the first 20 minutes, you kind of saw that. We were very poor in the first 20 minutes, in my opinion. I think Kulusevski was off it. I think Basuma was really not able to get through those channels. I don't think Madison was really on it. I think until Kulusevski kind of got that, little nice combination with Madison to end up getting that goal, it was really poor before that moment. And after the floodgates sort of opened. And I think right now we need to worry about when that happens, when that is the performance, because sometimes those 20 minutes end up being the entire 90 minutes, and we saw it against Newcastle last season. We saw it against we saw it against Fulham last season. So we need to worry about that. And I think to remedy that, because most of the problems were offensive, we need at least 1, ideally 2 elite forwards. Because as much as I love Lancashire, as much as I just wax lyrical about Mikey Moore, we can't be relying on these players, not only because they're young and inexperienced, but because we see the effects of relying on these players early. Like if you look at Pedri at Barcelona, he's riddled with injuries because they've been overplayed. These kids, like there's a problem with overplaying them also, from like a physical aspect. So we need to be proactive. We need to be proactive in the transfer market. We need to protect our players, and we need to give them support, because also if you want to think about the youth development, everyone's going to develop better if you have good players around you. If we get someone like an Ivan Toney, do you really think Will Lancashire is not going to learn anything from Ivan Toney? Like, do you sincerely? Of course he's going to learn a million things about Ivan Toney. For example, how to take the coldest penalty on the planet, right? So stuff like that is stuff I think we need to really look into, because there's more than just like goals and wins that you get from buying players. It's an entire culture you build around that club. So I think most importantly, if we do nothing else this window, we need 1 or 2 forwards and a fullback. That's the minimum I'm going to accept. And I hope we see it pretty soon, because what I don't want is for us to get that, but way too late, and then now suddenly we're playing catch up while everybody else is caught up.
Last question before we let you go. You said that Spence was probably in your top 3 players today, but who impressed you the most?
I think, like I said, impressed me the most, I would say Gray, but my favorite person to watch was Bergvall. I just loved seeing the ball get to him. Every time I was like, something's going to happen. It was awesome. I loved it. I want to see more of it. It's like crack.
Well, you'll see it more on Saturday, Ariane, and hopefully we'll get to hear your opinion on that afterwards. So, Ariane, thank you so much for coming on, my friend, and we'll see you on Saturday.
Yes, sir. And as always, come on, you Spurs!
Come on! Big up to Ariane.
Ange has been talking about the transfer window. He was asked if he's feeling comfortable with Tottenham's plans for the window. He said, we've got a strategy in place about what we want to do. I'm really happy with the 2 lads we've brought in. Obviously, very talented, but more importantly, really ambitious. They're not here to ease their way in. They want to play, and I think that's great. They've brought a good energy to the group, and no doubt there will be a couple more additions, but I'm comfortable with where we are at.
Okay, interesting. Maybe he knows something that we don't.
Oh, he's comfortable with where we're at in the transfer window. I wonder if today's performance has made him a bit more comfortable. Also.
Yeah, I bet. But let's go on to our next caller. He goes by the name of Sam. How you doing, Sam?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me on.
No, thanks for coming on, my friend. First time caller?
First time caller.
Welcome to the show, my
long
friend.
and waiting, to be fair.
Yeah,
Thank
welcome
you.
to the show. Obviously, really good performance from the boys, particularly in the second half today. Out of all the youngsters that came on, you know, your Lucas Bergvals, Archie Gray in the first half, Mikey Moore, Will Lancashire, Tyrese. I mean, I can go on forever. Who really stood out for you today? Who most impressed you?
Youngster-wise, probably, obviously the standout one for me in the first half was definitely Gray. With a makeshift defense, we were under quite a lot of pressure, and there was a lot of moments where they got in behind us, and he had to kind of play that Mickey van der Ven role. Obviously, not quite as quick as Mickey. There's not many players that are, but I thought he covered very well. I was quite impressed with Brandon Austin. Actually, he had a few good moments in that game. I think he showed that he's probably over Alfie, what's his name? Yeah, Alfie Whiteman. He was a little bit disappointing for me, to be honest. I thought Bergvall grew into the second half very well. He put in a few really good crosses, and obviously got a couple assists. Spence for me was the standout player. I think that he showed a good attitude. There's a lot of comments leveled at him for not quite doing enough. Obviously, I know the level of opposition is not quite what we're going to be seeing week in, week out, but it was definitely a good cameo from Spence. You know, he looked quite apt cover for Porro, who I didn't actually think did much in the first half. But again, I think that was down to the balance of the team. But yeah, I think everyone was good. I really liked Lancashire up front. He just had that, like, for a young lad, he had that presence about him, and he had the good attitude. I think it was Clive Allen on the post-match presser that he was basically saying there was a moment before he scored where he kind of missed a chance and he didn't get in front of his man, and he showed the right mentality to score, you know, like a minute later, and was clearly chuffed with what he'd done.
And there's a lot of talk about Lancashire going out on loan next season. You know, he scored loads of goals in the PL2 last season. Physically, though, do you think he might be ready for a run in the first team, or do you still think a loan deal is the best move for now?
Look, I've only seen Lancashire play a handful of minutes for the under-21s, and obviously this game. He definitely looks physically ready on the eye test, but whether he actually is when we come up against teams that have, you know, serious centre-backs that are representing their country internationally and playing week in, week out for their clubs, it will remain to be seen. I think when you're looking at him and Scarlett, he's clearly bigger than Scarlett. And I would be interested to see kind of how he progresses through the rest of the pre-season. hopefully he gets more minutes because I was quite disappointed that he was taken off. I think he probably could have got on the score sheet again. They were there for the taking. But yeah, I'd be interested to see what he can do. I think it's the same with Jamie Donnelly. These sort of players, they need a bit of time, and we need to find a loan that actually is going to benefit them going forward. Because you look at Valise and his loan, he might as well have just sat on the bench for the rest of the season and not play because he got like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's disappointing for him. But yeah, maybe leave them in the team, give them a few rounds of the cup early, and then come January, you look to loan these players out if a good move comes in.
Yeah, go on.
And just to be a bit negative, a very positive day, but Manos Solomon, there's been a few rumours about him, potentially leaving this summer. It's the first time we saw him since October time last year. He's missed a lot of football. So I guess you could forgive him for being a bit rusty, but what did you make of his first 45 today?
He had a few good touches, quite underwhelming to be honest. But I also, other than the goal, I didn't think that Brennan Johnson had a great game. And these are the kind of teams that you want to see these players going for it. They were quite rough in the first half. They had that guy Devlin who threw in quite a few hefty challenges. I do think he looked a little bit maybe nervous to take players on at the fact that he's been out of the game for so long. So I think he's got the right attributes. He looks dangerous, but he's never really shown, at least in the Premier League, that he's got the robust nature to maybe make it.
In terms of the attitude and the application that Jed Spence showed today in that second half, for me, he was my man the match. Do you think he's doing enough now? Well, obviously it's not enough now because it's only one game and one pre-season against Hearts. But if he keeps going on in this manner in pre-season, is he going to fight his way into Ange Postecoglou's plans for this coming season?
Well, it's obviously tough to say. We've heard a lot of things over the last couple of seasons about his mentality.
Yeah.
There was some talks that some rumors that he lived next to one of the sort of higher ups of Leeds, I think, while he was there, and he was having late music blasting out in the early hours of the morning. But I think I think Ange will come away from this game definitely with a bit of a nagging in the back of his mind about what to do with Spence. If we're not going to get decent money for him, and by decent I mean more than 5 million, then you might as well keep him around and have that homegrown aspect. And also he seems to have good technical ability. We bought him for a reason, right? So I would be interested to see again how he develops. I think last season in the pre-season he played a little bit as right winger in a couple of the games.
Yeah.
And he was just poor. Like everything about it was poor. He didn't really do anything. He looked sort of lacking on the ball. He wasn't really doing a great deal of tracking back. And him and Porro looked weak together down that side. And I'm not saying that he's going to be playing, right wing or anything, but he definitely showed that he can potentially step in and fulfill that Porro role if we need him to.
Yeah. You know what? It wasn't the performance, like his quality, that most impressed me today. It was that attitude on the pitch, because I've never seen that probably in a Spurs shirt from Jed Spence before. So it really impressed me, and I really hope that he can carry on in that vein. But Sam, thank you so much for coming on today. Hopefully we'll get to hear more of you in the future, and we'll see you soon, my friend.
No worries. Thanks for having me on, guys. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on.
That's what Sam.
Big up to Sam. I believe there was a super chat. Let me just try and get it up. From Andrew Sabash saying, for some reason, Gray reminded me of Moussa Dembele.
Moussa Dembele, interesting. Maybe the way he just glides around the pitch, I guess, is what he's referring to. But I don't. Yeah, I mean, interesting comparison.
And you know what? There's one guy that we haven't touched on much in this post-match fan show, and there's one guy that we didn't speak too much of in the match reaction as well. And I'm pretty sure this next guy is going to be coming on and waxing lyrical about this certain guy. And the guy's name is Alfie Devine. So let's bring on Alfie Devine's #1 fan, and he goes by the name of Brian Daigle.
Good evening, my brothers and everyone in the chat. How are we doing?
Good, mate. How are you, Brian?
I'm good, mate. That was a thoroughly enjoyable game. I said for once, we always say it looks like men against boys. So today it was boys against men. And I
And
expected a bit.
yeah, absolutely. And it was boys against men, but it looked like men against boys in the other direction. So it was great to see, particularly that second half, the youthful exuberance coming through. Mikey Moore on the right hand side, Will Lancashire up front, Bergval and Devine running things from the middle of the park. But I want to give you this time to wax lyrical about Alfie Devine, because I know you've been waiting a long time for this moment.
Listen, I've been speaking, like, let's face it, I've been coming on to We Are Tottenham TV now, what, 3 years, maybe a little bit longer, a little bit less. Whenever I've gone on these shows or spoken to friends, I've said, we've got a diamond in the rough. This boy's going to come through and do wonders. And he's had his loan, and obviously Plymouth didn't work out quite so well. Port Vale, he excelled. What I loved about his performance today is he's not one of those with the flicks and tricks and show posting. He was always available for the ball, always making angles. The pass with the outstep of the foot to get Werner the assist for, who did Werner set up for the, I can't remember, Spence. It was just a very accomplished performance. And I know Alfie Devine at the moment, people are like, with all these youngsters coming through, the Donnellys, the Moores, and correct, they're coming through. Alfie Devine's name has been kind of lost amongst the great expectations of these youngsters, and he's come on and done himself no harm whatsoever. Do I think he'll still go out on loan this season? Yeah, probably, and I think it's probably best for him. But he showed today what he can bring to this football team, and to me, Alfie Devine, I will always stand by. I think he's a tremendous prospect, and today he put in the performance I've been waiting for, like you said, Ben.
It's actually a good point you make there about Alfie Devine going out on loan, because you see a lot of players that came in today and a lot of players did a good job. Out of the youngsters that came in, which ones do you think can have an impact in the first team next year, and which ones do you think will end up going back out on loan?
So first of all, when you say that, let's talk about the one that you wax lyrical like I do, Divine and Stimin. You can't talk about a generation or a youngster without this 24-karat gold diamond sparkling brightly in Mikey Moore. I put a tweet out during the game and I said, and I've said this before, he's our Michael Owen, he's our Robbie Fowler, he's our Wayne Rooney. When everyone's going, oh my God, how dare you use these names? Well, apart from Liverpool fans and Everton fans and obviously United, when Rooney went, no one had heard of these players coming through like we're having about Mikey Moore. This kid is just so special. He showed it with England. He got a lot of people that watch England talking about how good Mikey Moore is going to be. And he's just excelling, isn't he? Nothing faces him. He's definitely going, well, he can't go on loan because of his age. Who do I think? Listen, the youngsters, Lancashire look really good. Big concern that both him and Valise went off, obviously, with knocks they picked up. Obviously, that's probably precautionary. Donnelly looked great. Listen, you can wax lyrical about the youngsters that came on, really, couldn't you? I think a few of them will go on loan, but I think you're looking at your Donnellys, your Moore, Bergval is obviously going nowhere. Archie Gray, who in defence, let's just talk. Obviously, when we signed him, I came on and we were waxing lyrical. This guy played in the centre of defence. Yes, he misjudged a couple of balls or whatever, but it was like, go play in defence with Ollie Skip next to you, and form a defensive partnership. Don't get me wrong, Hearts were woeful, but Archie Gray looked like he's been at Spurs for a while. On the other hand, Simeon, yesterday you and I were doing an update on Emerson, and if that fee was too little, take the money, and go, mate. It took 1 minute, but get the youngsters it was a joy to see. So yes, it's only Hearts, but come on, we've just had to watch England and bitch and moan about how poor and defensive and sitting back England were. Well, Tottenham did the anti-England, and it was a joy to see, wasn't it?
Brian, what do we do moving forward now? As someone who is obviously going to put pressure on Daniel Levy to spend money, what would you say?
Pressure? He's already.
What, what would you?
Simeon, what are you doing to me? What are you doing to me? You're painting me in a bad light.
No. I'm just asking. I got a question. What?
I
So,
know,
what do you
brother, I
say
know.
if Ange decides, or that some of these youngsters are good enough and they're good enough for the first team and they're good enough to be used, and we don't spend big money in certain positions? How do you strike that balance between spending big money on certain positions and having players like we saw today develop and be used?
Okay, so like last season, I was saying I wanted to see a bit more of Donnelly rather than just trial and error and trying to fight. Someone like Donnelly, obviously, he's a player, so you think about his position, you may not need to invest heavily there. What I will say, and one talking point before we get into that, and you've all been waxing, look, Jed Spence, bloody hell, where that performance was, obviously, again, it's only half, but that was a performance I didn't know he had in him. So you look at it, now you look at it, and could that have been okay, General, I'm over here, come and get me? Or could that be an Ange Postecoglou, this is what I could do, stick with me? Emerson's gone. Now the conversation needs to be, do we need to invest in another right back when we do have Spence there? That's the topic of conversation. I think, listen, where we need to spend big as a striker, it doesn't matter how many youngsters or how well Lancashire did or whatever, and Valise when he came on, we need a recognised, established 20-plus goal a season striker to be up there and do it. That's where we need to spend money. I think we need to spend big on another midfielder and a left centre-back, although Phillips came on and done well, someone we've spoken about a lot as well and did yesterday. So there are areas, but I think there is a lot of food for thought there. But that shouldn't distract from not spending where it's needed. But we needed to see what these youngsters were capable of. They showed it. Special mention, I don't know if you mentioned it as well, to that save from Brandon Austin in the first half, which was sensational. And Simeon, how badly did we get the predicted lineup?
Quite badly, but in our credit, it's not the easiest one to do. But yeah, wasn't our finest predicted lineup.
Exactly, but yeah, I think, listen, there is food for thought. One thing I will say, I'm not going to get over carried away and say, oh my God, now look at this. It's like the class of '92. We're going to do stuff like Manchester.
Someone's already said that on this stream.
Listen, let's. The one thing I don't want to do, it was a very, very exciting performance to see. We've all wanted to see what this young crop of youngsters could do. We've seen what they're capable of against Hearts. Do you think if we played Manchester City, Liverpool, the Filth, or anyone like that, they're going to be able to do that? I highly doubt it immediately. But there was a little bite-sized piece to say, right, you want to see what the youngsters have got in them? Well, that's what they can do. Now we've got to nurture them. The most important thing is the correct progression and the pathway for it, whether that be a loan, whether that be they stay. But from what we just saw, it was refreshing and exciting to see some attacking football again.
Yeah, and hopefully more of the same on Saturday. But Brian, thank you so much for coming on once again. We'll see you and speak to you very, very soon.
You will indeed, and I'm not going to do my normal saying. I'm just going to give a massive big up to my boy Alfie. Alfie Divine doing divine things. That's all I'll say. Have a good evening. And Sim, I'm with you tomorrow, I believe, yeah?
Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow, Brian.
No worries, bro. Give me a call and let me know when to meet. All good. Have a great evening, everyone, and speak to you later.
Big up, Brian. Let's keep this show on the road. We've still got busy lines. We've got Tom on next, so let's go to him. Tom, how you doing, my friend?
Hi, right, guys. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. You doing well?
Perfect. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, brilliant, man. Brilliant. It's great to be on the show. It's been a long time.
It's great to have you on the show.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. I've been wanting to come onto the show. But yeah, let's dive into the game. I mean, first impressions of Archie Gray. I mean, wow. I mean, what a player. We're trying to develop a lot of sort of players that are very good on the ball, can, play throughout the press and just keep the ball ticking, one touch, two touch football. And I mean, I think he's an encapsulation of that, to be honest. I think even just putting him in at centre back, he just looked so comfortable on the ball. And, it's brilliant having players have that ability to do that. Players like Bergwall, just just pick up the ball, just drive with the ball, and just go. And it's just refreshing to see. It's a shame that we've got a backlog of players that are just sort of a mix of different managers, and it's difficult to sort of blend them into what Ange wants to do. But now we're starting to see sort of all the youngsters coming through that have the philosophy of Ange, just like when Jurgen Klopp joined Liverpool. He can bring on, I think it's Conor Bradley at right back, and it looks seamless. They all know the system. They all know how the manager wants to play. And obviously that's going to take time, but, it's great.
Yeah, I mean, we all are very obviously very excited after what we've seen, but we do have to, remember that it is only against Hearts. It is a pre-season friendly, and there is a lot more bigger tests to come, particularly in pre-season with the likes of Bayern Munich to come, maybe later on in pre-season. But did anyone, from the performances that you saw today on the pitch, did it say to you that, look, I'm here and I'm going to make an impact here next season in the Premier League?
Someone that did surprise me was Jed Spence. I mean, I thought his sort of head about Tottenham was sort of out the window. I think it was Genoa were interested in getting him, but I don't know if they can agree the fee. It's difficult to see with Jed. He looked like he wanted to be part of the team, but as Ariane said at the start, his attitude problems are there. So that is a bit of an issue. But if he continues the way he's playing like he did today, I mean, that's another right back option we have, and then you could always then just shift Archie Gray into midfield if we're don't have enough players in that position if they're injured or whatever. Because we did have a lot of injuries last year, so I think statistically we had the highest injury count throughout the season. So
Ange was asked in his post-match presser if he's happy or if he's comfortable where we are in the transfer window so far. He said that there's a strategy in place and he is comfortable at the moment. How are you feeling about where we're currently at? And looking at today's performance and some of the youngsters, does missing out on certain targets not worry you as much, considering who we have maybe to come in certain positions?
I would have to kind of agree with that, because I think with the recent history of Tottenham, we've had brilliant youngsters coming through. We've all been waxing lyrical about them for so many years. Troy Parrott, Dane Scarlett, players like that, and just sort of stagnated within the squad. They've gone out on loan and not really got the game time, not really got a team that sort of suits as such. I do think there is players that should go out on loan, just get a bit of game time. I think Will Lancashire would be a big go down to Birmingham with Chris Davis. I think that would sort of nurture him up, but we just need to create this pathway. We need to get that balance between getting the right people in transfer wise and then also progressing this brilliant youth we have within the team. But yeah, that's what I would recommend.
So what positions would you like to see Tottenham bring in from now until the end of the transfer window?
I really do look very light at left back, especially when Destiny, it's inevitable. These players will get injured and we need adequate back. I love Ben Davies, but I think his position at left back is just not great. And he's just pace and just on the ball ability. It doesn't look great, but yeah, just some kind of left back would be a great option, and I really think we should just go in for a winger that can just take a man on and beat someone. A lot of our players, Werner, Brandon, they want to run behind. They don't want to pick up the ball. We need a Neto. It's a big risk. He's injury prone, but he's a good profile, I think, for our team. That or a Neto or an Eze, but Eze's natural position is more down the middle. But probably a Neto would be a good option on the left-hand side.
All right, Tom. Well, thanks for coming on. It's been great to have you on the show. Hopefully we'll get to see more of you over the course of the season. But come on, you Spurs, my friend.
Thank you very much, guys. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Come on. Big up to you, Tom. Thanks for coming on. Who do we have next?
There's no more.
I can hear someone in the background. Is there no one there?
Is it just someone leaving?
Okay. All right. that is it then from the fan show. I want to thank all of the guests that came on today. A few new guests in there to We Are Tottenham TV virgins, we'll call them, coming on today.
There we are Tottenham TV cherry.
Exactly. It was great to see some new faces on the fan show today, as well as the old favourites like Ariane and Brian Daigle. We'll be back, I think it's Sim and Brian doing the player ratings and all that tomorrow.
All that jazz.
And all that jazz. Reacts will be with you tonight, actually, because we did it on the stream earlier today. And another watch-along Saturday where we get to see Ange Ball once again. We're all very excited when we woke up in the morning. We knew it was Ange Ball Day. Well, another Ange Ball Day is coming. And then shortly after that, me and Sim are heading over to the Far East, aren't we?
We are. We head to Singapore on Monday and Tokyo and then Korea. I cannot wait to come see all our fans out in Korea as well. It's super, super exciting. So going to see you all very, very soon.
All right. Big up, guys. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in over the course of the watch-along and the fan show today. We'll see you all very soon. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.